Hello and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros, and this is a little space I like to carve out to share different tips, tools, techniques, nuggets, stories, anecdotes to help myself and other people, whether it's my clients or my family or whoever, to help us move the needle, even if it's 1 degree at a time, which is actually the more sustainable way of changing, evolving, and growing, so that we can find new levels of healthy and happy, whatever that means for this moment in our lives. I believe that when we transform the stories that we tell ourselves, when we alter those stories to empower us, then we are altering our lives, essentially, because the story compels and leads to the thoughts that we allow to linger, the words that we speak, and the actions that we take. So it's really important for me when I do any of this work to share stories that hopefully will create a mindset shift. And in mastering our mindset, we master our lives. Today is no different. This is a video game remote control. When I was younger, we had a PlayStation. Not a PlayStation, a Nintendo, and I didn't really have a lot of time to play because at that time I was old enough to have a job. So I went to school, I worked, and then I had chores and homework. So I didn't really have a lot of time to play video games, but it is something that I was always kind of interested in, or I would watch other people play, or sometimes I'll play with my daughter now, but it's not really like my go-to thing. It doesn't change the fact that you can learn something from it. Okay, come with me on this little ride. So my daughter and this young man who's in my family, actually he's not that young, but this guy who's in my family and this young woman that I know, all within a couple of days were asking, like, what would you do about this situation? And they were talking about someone in their lives who isn't living with them. It's not someone who's consistently in their space and in their business. That's a different dynamic and a different approach. But someone who is regularly, they have to exchange time and energy with, be it at school or maybe someone that you work with but not necessarily in your department, or you never have to be on a team with them, or a neighbor or something like that, right? So all of them had these kind of one-off people who were in their immediate small circles, these one-off people who they found to be difficult because they were not very friendly, or they weren't very kind, or they weren't fill in the blank, right? So it was affecting them. And within a week, these 3 different people, we were having this conversation. And because all 3 of them play video games, I came up with this brilliant analogy, and I wanted to share it because I think it's so yummy. Even for me, and I don't even play video games. So I said to them, I want you to pretend that you are playing a video game. And because you have the control in your hand, and you are in charge of your character, what your character does and how your character moves through the space, that is the only thing you have control of. You are going to learn how to use the buttons and the combinations of buttons, like tools, techniques that you have, the combination thereof, to enhance your game playing abilities, to enhance your life. When you are in control here and you use the tools, techniques, and the things that work for you, you can enhance your own life like you would for your character in a game. And because your hands are on the controller, you are in charge of you. Period. Now, sometimes your inner circle people might join you on the game. My daughter could be playing from her bedroom, and if I had the setup in the living room, I could play in the living room and we could play together. She sometimes plays with her cousins. This man in my family sometimes plays with my daughter or other people in the family because they can link on, but everyone is still in control of their own remote control and their own destiny in the storyline. And if life is not a game, I don't know what is. And are we not always looking to level up? I literally use that as my opener to find new levels of health and happiness, right? Everyone else in the game who isn't actively holding a remote control and in control of their story in partnership with yours, like they're on your team. Anyone else who is not on your team with their words and actions is an NPC. They are a non-player character. Now, in a game, that non-player character does not have a remote control. They are built into the game to add more features, to add more community, whatever. From the NPC, they always do the same thing over and over and over and over and over. You can sometimes go up to an NPC and they'll give you a nugget of information that you can learn from. Sometimes they're just annoying because they're in the way. And sometimes they're just filling in space, right? Either way, in the grand scheme of your life story, everyone who is not in your inner circle and actively on your team should be considered an NPC. That's a non-player character. This way, when they act the way that they act, I am not confused. That's who that character is. I don't need them to be different. I don't need them to say anything different. I don't need them to act different. I don't require of them anything. Their non-player character selves are going to do what they're going to do on a loop because that's who they are. And my job, because I have the remote, I'm in control, is to either utilize or ignore that exchange because it might do nothing for me, or I might be able to gain some information from it. And sometimes the information that we gain from NPCs is not even about how to level up in the game. It's about how to level up here, right? So I give them this example. When I say it to my daughter, she's like, okay, yeah, okay, I see where you're going. If you're having trouble with someone and they are not on your team, they're not immediately a part of your inner circle, then you can choose to not give them your time or energy and to treat them like a non-player character and understand that if they do not change, that is because that is their why are we pretending that's not their character? Stop giving away your power and your energy to someone who is who they are. When I said this to the man in my family, he was like, yo, and he just kept doing this. Everybody who is not immediately in my circle is part of the simulation to help me get to a next level. And I think of it like this. When I have difficulties with someone who is not in my inner circle, I say to myself, this is a simulation. I am in a game. This is before I did the whole remote control thing. This is a simulation. I am in a game. They are providing me in this simulation an opportunity to really check in and see if I am who I say I am. Because if I say that I'm someone whose goal is to be rooted in love, and that's easy to do with people who are easy, am I still that when the opportunity comes along to do it with someone who isn't easily lovable? From me, everybody's lovable, right? But if they don't make it easy for me, am I still rooting into love? Am I still operating from that place? Now, I want to be very clear. Operating from love does not mean laying on the floor and being a doormat, and it also does not mean people pleasing. Sometimes operating from love is being honest and creating boundaries, because boundaries are bridges, right? They're not barriers. I posted that before. Boundaries are not meant to be barriers. Only unhealthy people see boundaries as barriers. So that's also love. But am I operating from love with that person as well? Or am I only reserving that and putting an asterisk on my love and making it conditional to people who make it easy for me? Because then I am not truly who I say I am unless the situation aligns accordingly. If I am who I am, then I'm that in all spaces. And these people, these NPCs, provide me with an opportunity to root in and really get acquainted with what it means to be someone who roots into love. So in this game of life, you have your team, and how we approach and develop relationships in our inner circles is very different than how we do that in our outer circles, because they require more time, more energy, more intentionality, right? If the outer circle people are difficult, consider them NPCs. See them where they are. Accept them for who they are. See their character for who it is, and then make a decision. Is this damaging to me? My psyche, my physical self, my mentality, right? If so, I need to create space and a healthy boundary here, because then that's going to help me bridge myself to my higher self, my greater knowing. Is this an opportunity for me to have a conversation? Never to try to change anyone. That should never be the goal. To try to change someone is exhausting work that you will always fail at, because you cannot change someone who does not want to be changed. So see their character for who they are. Is this an opportunity for me to root into myself and my love? Or is this something that I truly need to just walk away from, right? Ooh, child, that's a whole different way of showing up in your mindset. I hope that was helpful. I think it's so yummy. I'm just going to run around saying it all the time. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And don't let your NPCs take that power over your life because they don't deserve it. And you are the one holding your controller. In control. In control. Yes. I'm sending you love and light, and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace!